What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to my channel. I am Missy Renee, and on this channel we talk about manifesting. Everything manifesting, how to do it, how to properly apply it so that you can live the life that you've always dreamed of. So in this video, I want to go into the topic of manifesting a specific person. L'amour. Because this topic, hands down, is the topic that I have people come to me the most with. This is the one that gets brought up over and over and over again. I'd say 80% of the issues that people come to me with is dealing with manifesting a specific person. So this video, I'm aiming to not only show you guys how you can deliberately manifest a specific person, which you totally can, by the way, but also I'm going to answer a lot of the questions that I get to help make this a more well-rounded, informative video. Because that's the ultimate aim here, and that's really what I am trying to do, and that's really what I want to see happen. I want to share what I have found and what I have discovered and what's worked for me, what hasn't worked, along with other testimonials, hundreds of other testimonials, thousands of other testimonials. I mean, this shit works. So manifesting a specific person, yes, it is possible. There are some law of attraction coaches out there who like to preach free will and all that stuff. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, free will is a concept that isn't real. So yes, you can absolutely manifest a specific person. And to start this, to really start the understanding of how all this works and how you can go about getting the person that you want, you have to have an understanding of the concept, everyone is you, pushed out. This is one of Neville Goddard's most radical and controversial topics, and I have a video that goes way more into detail about everyone is you pushed out. So if you haven't seen that video yet, or if you are not very familiar with what that term means, I'm going to link that video up here, down here, and ask any questions that you have in the comments below, but watch that video first before watching this one. And you can come back to this video later. I'm not going anywhere, but it's really going to help you so much if you have at least an understanding of that fundamental concept. So in a nutshell, everyone is you pushed out is everybody is a reflection of you. It comes down to everybody in your reality, everybody that you interact with, everybody that you know and don't know, they're all reflections of you, and more specifically, your assumptions, beliefs, thoughts, etc. And there's a whole lot of misconception around that subject as well, around the subject of everyone is you pushed out, which I'm not going to get into this video in depth because there's so many other things to talk about and there's so many other questions to answer that's more specific to this topic. But essentially, we are, in our reality, God. Our consciousness is God. In our world, in our perception, we have the power to change our surroundings, our circumstances, whatever you want. This goes for everybody. Everybody has this power. Nobody is excluded. But essentially, how Neville explains it and what I've come to really grasp and understand is there is an infinite awareness inside of us. And this even is described, figuratively speaking, symbolically speaking, in the Bible. But your subconscious is God. Your subconscious is the thing that creates. It's the thing that manifests everything in your world. Now, it is your conscious mind that feeds the subconscious the beliefs, the assumptions, the things that will manifest ultimately that you'll see outside in your 3D world. This goes with people too. This goes with everything. And when it comes to people, they will always, in your reality, they will always form and mold into what you assume them to be and what you assume them to do. The reason most people even stumble into this topic of manifesting and how a lot of people find Neville Goddard is because they're trying to manifest a specific person, be it an ex or somebody that they really like and they really dig, really into. Either way, this is a very common reason. This is a very common thing that people start really diving into manifesting, and this is what gets the ball rolling for most people. So it really is so simple. Once you fully grasp the fundamentals and once you fully have faith in your God-given power, it's going to be so easy for you. So with everyone as you pushed out, basically what you think and assume and believe about another person is going to turn out and come out to be true, no matter what. And you're doing this all the time, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. You ever notice how when you look back on your interactions with others, and it doesn't just have to be romantic interest, it could be friends, it could be family, it could be coworkers, but if you look back and you think over your interactions with people, you start to see a pattern play out. And if you had a thought about somebody, it always turned out to be true. Or if you thought something was going to happen, it always turned out to be true. This is because everyone is you pushed out. And if you think or say or believe that somebody's going to do something or act a certain way, behave a certain way, they're going to conform to that. Okay, so everyone is you pushed out. We understand that. Everyone is going to conform and act and behave the way that we presume them to act and behave. Okay, so how do I get my specific person? You get your specific person, you manifest your specific person the same way you manifest anything else, through your imagination. So now if you are not familiar with how to use your imagination to manifest, I will also link the video that I made on that topic up here and down in the description box below. You are going to want to create a scene that implies that you have what it is that you want, right? An imaginal scene. You're going to create a mental scene that implies that you have already got the thing that you want. And you do this for anything that you want to manifest anyways. This is the technique I use that has yielded the best results for me. This and revision, I would say, definitely. It's powerful. It's incredibly powerful because essentially what we're doing here, what we're trying to do when we deliberately manifest, is we want to impress onto the subconscious mind whatever it is that we want. Because we're doing this all the time anyways, whether we're aware of it or not. So why not impress the things that we want? So we use our imagination. Specifically, it boils down to we define exactly what it is that we want. And for most people, when it comes to their specific person, this is usually marriage or a long-term committed relationship. Okay, so we construct a scene, a mental scene, that implies that we have what we want. So we construct a scene that implies that we are married to that specific person. Now, two quick things with this scene that you need to be aware of so you don't make any mistakes. Make sure that the scene is short and concise, so that way your mind doesn't wander all over the place. It's easy to really get that scene in your head, and I'll go into why later, but you want to keep it short and precise. I'd say anywhere between 3 and like no more than 10 seconds, and even that's pushing it. More like 5 seconds is like the sweet spot I've found. So 5 seconds, no more than 10, create a mental scene. Implies that you have what you want, or that you're married or in a long-term relationship with your specific person. The second thing that's really crucial to know when it comes to your mental scene is you're always going to want to picture it from first person point of view. So when you're imagining this scene, you want to make sure you're imagining through your eyes, like you are literally in that scene, watching it as if that person is standing right in front of you in real life. You're not watching it like you're watching a movie or you're watching a play of you and somebody else. You always do it from first person perspective, because your subconscious is going to take whatever is impressed and it's going to replicate that exact image. So you want to make sure that you're the one in that scene that is getting what you want. And to the subconscious, if you're doing this from first person, that is going to confirm that you are in fact the person receiving this thing or has this thing. Okay, so you may be asking, like, what are some examples of an imaginal scene that would work? An example you can use for a scene, if you are, say, your end result or your wish or desire is to be married to this specific person, you could imagine that you are, laying in bed with them or sitting at a table eating breakfast, whatever, with this person, and you're wearing a wedding ring, right? So that definitely implies that you're married. And with your other person in that scene, your specific person, construct a quick mental dialogue between the two of you to further cement that you are in fact married. So in that scene, you're lying in bed, you're sitting together, eating breakfast, whatever. You could say to that person, wow, I can't believe it's already been a year since our wedding. This has been amazing. And that person can reply to you in that imaginal scene, I know, it's crazy. I am blown away at how wonderful things have been. Time flies when we're having fun. Some cutesy shit like that. But make it loving, make it sweet, make it short, and that gets right to the point. So you have your imaginal scene as you would like to have it played out in real life. It's short, it's concise, there's no second guessing what it is that you want. Okay, so now that you have this scene, the next thing you want to do is get yourself into a state akin to sleep or a very relaxed state. And the 2 times a day that you are naturally in this state is right before you go to bed and right after you wake up in the morning. It's the groggy twilight stage where you're not yet fully unconscious or asleep. You're still able to control your thoughts, but the goal here is to get the conscious mind wound down as much as possible. One of the roles that your conscious mind plays is it acts as a gatekeeper to the subconscious, and it will reject a lot of the ideas and beliefs that it doesn't agree with. Because your conscious mind is tied to your self-identity. It's tied to all of your assumptions, all of your beliefs. So if you try to imagine something, or if you try to affirm something that your conscious mind doesn't believe, it's not even going to get a chance to get to your subconscious. Now, that's not to say that you don't manifest during the day or that you don't manifest while you're consciously awake. You do. You manifest all the time. But this is the times when you're going to have the most accurate results. So you want to make sure, especially when you're just starting doing this, when you're starting to play around with deliberately manifesting, it's best to do it when you're in this state. So that window right before bed or right after you wake up in the morning, you want to get yourself relaxed, get yourself wound down, try to get the mind to just slow down and get everything out of there. If your mind wanders, you got to bring it back. You wrangle it for a minute. This is usually how it always starts. Your mind's going to want to go all over the place. You got to wrangle it in. And then once you're comfortable, once you're relaxed, once you're in a really nice, easygoing state, that's when you want to bring your scene into your imagination. And here's why you keep it short and concise. You're going to imagine that scene that you've constructed with that specific person, and then you're going to loop it, and you're going to loop it, and you're going to loop it. You're going to keep looping that scene. And every time you loop it, you want to try to add as many tones of reality as you can muster. Your goal is to make this as vivid a picture as you can. You want to make it as real as possible. So add in the sensory vividness, add in sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing, whatever you can muster to make this scene as alive as possible. You want to submerge yourself in this imaginal scene. And you're going to keep doing this, and you're going to keep doing this until eventually you're going to drift off, or you're going to feel a deep sense of like, this is really nice, this is satisfaction, this is natural. You're going to feel really good. This is how you know that your scene has been impressed onto your subconscious. You're naturally going to feel the emotions and the feelings that come with that scene if you were there in real life. You're going to feel that relief, you're going to feel that excitement, you're going to feel that love, you're going to feel that peace, you're going to feel that satisfaction. It's going to feel so good, it's going to feel so real. That's how you know it's done. That's how you know it's done. Once you're feeling that, once you're like, God damn, this is so good, you're good to go. You can drop it after that because it's done. If you find that you don't quite get to that stage, you don't quite get to that feeling the emotions with it, keep trying it. You know, every night, whether it takes one night or 10 nights, 12 nights, however long it takes, you want to keep imagining the scene every night until you feel that satisfaction, that natural, just good feeling. And you're going to know. You're going to know when you feel this. It's going to be like, oh, fuck yeah, there it is. It's done. Once you do that, once you have played that scene, once you've felt it so real and so vivid and so good, you can go ahead and drop it. And then you know that once that has occurred, it's going to come to pass. The key here to know is that your imagination is just as real as your outside reality. In fact, your imagination and your assumptions and your beliefs and your thoughts, they all precede your physical reality. So if you feel it in your imagination first, if you experience it in your assumptions and beliefs, that's going to happen before you see it in your outside world. So everything that you are currently looking at, everything that you are currently seeing right now in your outside world is just old manifestations. Neville called this planting the seed. And it is very much akin to planting a seed. You are planting or impressing onto your subconscious that what you want. And once it has been fully suppressed, it's going to show up in the most natural and perfect way. And it's always in a way that you would have never in a million years have expected. Now, another question that I often get is, how do I stop myself from obsessively thinking about this person throughout the day? This is so critical to know when it comes to manifesting your specific person, and I don't see enough people talking about this. Because, yeah, okay, it's easier said than done to just drop a person, right? To just drop the notion and just like have this belief that everything's going to be okay, right? So much easier said than done, especially when you're new at this. Because we've been trained since birth to react and to look for validation in our outside world and to react to our circumstances and to look at everything on the outside as if it's real and accurate. It might take some time and it might take some work before you can actually start to go in and do this properly without having something come up and sabotage it. And by that, I mean your assumptions and your beliefs. A personal story on my end. I had a specific person that I was madly in love with. Now, this was a handful of years ago. I discovered Neville Goddard around 3 or 4 years ago. And I've been studying manifesting for 10 years, and I have studied all of the greats. I've read all the freaking books by all of them, like Joseph Murray, Abraham Hicks, Napoleon Hill, Joe Dispenza, whatever his name is. All of it, all of them. So I had been, practicing the law of attraction for quite some time. And a couple of years ago, I finally got with my specific person, but I had an underlying belief, and because I wasn't doing the inner work, because I wasn't doing the self-observation that Neville talks about, he wound up going away. So I didn't fully understand how all of this worked, so I just went back to affirming and affirming and affirming that I was going to get him back. And he did come back. It took about 6 months, but he came back. Well, because I didn't get rid of this belief, this underlying belief that I had, I made it so he went away again. So this is going to segue into the next really important thing to know and understand when you're manifesting a specific person. If you are having obsessive thoughts, if you are unable to drop the notion after you have imagined and after you have immersed yourself in this scene, if you find that during your day-to-day you are unable to not freak out and you're not able to stop the obsessive thinking and thinking and thinking, you very likely got an underlying belief or an assumption. These are also known as limiting beliefs. And it's essentially something that you may have been told or something that you may have experienced that was really traumatizing, that you really reacted to and impressed your subconscious, and it kept playing out because you kept reacting, and kept playing out because you kept reacting to it. And after a while, after you've done this for enough time, they do become like programmed into you. So for me, I always had issues with abandonment growing up. I always assumed that every guy was just going to leave me anyways. So, bada bing, guess what happened? That guy left me not just once, but twice. So I would recommend, even before you start trying to manifest a specific person back, if you notice these patterns that have been playing out for you, if you notice that you are having these obsessive thoughts, these jealous thoughts, these insecure thoughts, anything stemming from a place of insecurity is a belief. So you're going to want to uproot that little fucker and get rid of him before you even try to manifest your specific person back, because I'm going to save you a whole lot of heartache and pain here and a whole lot of time if you still have that belief inside your subconscious. Even if you do imagine and you get this person back, which if you do impress your subconscious properly, you will get that manifested to you. But if that belief is still there, then you're going to likely find yourself in a scenario where they go away again or it doesn't work out. It's so critical to make sure that you're doing the self-observation and really uprooting anything that no longer serves you or that no longer stems from the self that you want to be. I would highly recommend checking out my video about Neville Goddard's 3 fundamentals of manifesting. I will link that one up here and down here. I've got all the videos for you guys. Like that playlist, that manifesting playlist is a must to watch. If you are not familiar with these terms, if you're not familiar with these practices, if you're not familiar with Neville Goddard, watch that playlist. And especially the one on the 3 fundamentals, Neville Goddard's 3 fundamentals of manifesting. Because step 1 before anything else, you want to be able to really observe your thoughts, your expectations, your reactions. You want to take a step back and have a good objective look as to what's going on in your mind, because you can then correlate and start to see how it relates to what's going on in your circumstances. So if you notice that certain events are always playing out, or if you notice that there are certain thoughts that just keep gnawing at you, you got a belief in there. And if it's not a good one, if it's not one that serves you, if it's not one that you want to have manifesting all the time, you rip that fucker out. And you can do this. You can change beliefs by imagining that you are the opposite of what you believe. See, the beauty of manifestation and the beauty of your imagination is that it doesn't just work for things, it works for everything. So if you want to be a different person, if you want to be in a different state, you can imagine that you are that person, and that is what you will find to experience. For example, when I was doing the inner work, and it was especially after my specific person left me the second time, that I really started to do some digging within. That was also around the same time that I really started to see things taking off in my manifestations. I started to see things playing out the way that Neville said that they would. So my faith was growing, and I knew at that time that I am God and that I can do whatever I want in my reality. I can be whoever I want. I can do whatever I want. Circumstances don't matter. Nothing matters. And nothing can stop me except myself. So I imagined one night that I was having a conversation with a close friend, and I heard in my imagination my friend tell me, "Wow, Missy, I can't believe how long you have been with this guy. That's incredible. I'm just in awe of you two and your relationship and how you've been able to stick it out through everything. You seem so in love, and it's everything I aspire to be. I really admire you." And I responded in my imagination with, "Yeah, no, I know. It's amazing how wonderfully compatible we are, and how committed he is, and how honest and trustworthy he is." So I was able to, from that scene alone, get rid of like a dozen limiting beliefs that I had stored in my subconscious. Because with that imaginal act, it has to play out exactly how it impresses on the subconscious. So I noticed almost immediately that I had more confidence in myself. I was carrying myself better. I was more assertive and knowing that things were going to be okay. Like, those were signs that what I had imagined was being refracted. And it's pouring ass rain outside, so excuse any background noise that may be in this video. This is why I use a lavalier. Really, I want to make sure that that is stressed and emphasized before you guys get too far down the rabbit hole and wondering, why is my specific person not here? Oh God. If you have obsessive thoughts, if negative scenarios keep playing out, there's a good chance more often than not that you have a negative underlying belief. So use your imagination to change anything that you want to change. If you want to be a different person, if you want to no longer be afraid of heights, do it for that. If you want to be somebody who is a bodybuilder, do it for that. If you want to be the most confident, badass, most amazing person in the room, wherever you are, use your imagination for that. This is limitless. You have no limits as to what you can imagine. And that's God right there. That is your God-given power. So use it. Don't just use it for things, use it for aspects of your character as well. So we know that everyone is you pushed out, and we know that our imagination is what creates. And we know how to imagine so we can impress our subconscious into getting a specific person. We also know that if we keep having obsessive thoughts during the day after we've imagined, or if certain negative scenarios keep playing out, that there's likely an underlying belief, and how to use self-observation to get rid of that belief. I want to get into now how we sometimes manipulate scenarios and why you should not ever try to use your willpower or force to move anything along. Because this is the most human thing in the world. We all do it. We've all done it. And I still have to catch myself sometimes because I naturally am the type of person who wants to go in and fix things. I want to figure things out, and I'll wrestle with the situation until one of us is dead. This is so not the way to go about doing this. All you have to do is imagine. All you have to do is imagine, impress the subconscious, and then go about your day. You don't have to lift a freaking finger. Your subconscious will arrange everything to play out in the most perfect way if you imagine from the end already having that which you desire. Don't try to use any force, or don't try to coerce or manipulate the situation. I've seen that backfire so many times. If you're trying to go out of your way to get your specific person's attention, if you're trying to stalk them or go to their work, if you're not feeling naturally moved to do something, don't do it. You don't have to do anything. Another common question that I get is, should I send them a text message? Should I reach out to them? Should I do this? Should I do that? Again, you don't have to do anything unless you are feeling naturally driven to do it. And you will know the difference if it's something that you're trying to force or you're being naturally driven to do it. Because that natural drive, that feeling of wow, I really want to do this thing, and then you just do it, that's your consciousness, that's your God, that is God, that is your awareness. But when you are trying to manipulate a situation, or you're trying to force things turn out a certain way, you're going to find things backfire, because more often than not, you're going to have a reaction somewhere in the middle. And this reaction is going to plant a seed or impress on your subconscious as well. So this is also why you're strongly encouraged not to try to imagine anything in the middle. This also goes for don't tamper with anything, don't manipulate anything, because essentially, if you're not imagining the end scenario, or if you're trying to coerce a scenario after you've imagined it, you're essentially messing with the middle. And what this does is it sets up the perfect recipe for you to react negatively. Because you don't know how this bridge of incidents is going to play out. It could look really bad at first. And it's when you react to something that it's going to plant into your subconscious. Your subconscious picks up on those heavy emotional cues that you give it. It's all about the feeling. It's all about the emotion. Neville himself said, feeling is the secret. So this is why you never tamper with the middle, whether it's imagining a middle scene or something before the end, or try to coerce or force a situation to happen once you've imagined it. Don't fuck with any of that. Don't mess with it. Don't do anything, because again, this is the perfect shitstorm to react. I've sabotaged my manifestations before from doing this very thing. Oh, Lord have mercy, have I done this before? This really comes down to building your faith and knowing that you are, in fact, God. If you are not coming from that faith, if that faith is wavering at all, I would instead, before trying to manifest a specific person, I would work on trying to build your faith and doing the self-observation and inner work. And just maybe take a break. Take a break from all of this. If it's becoming too much, if it's just becoming more stress and more headache and more chores, and you find that you're constantly looking outside at circumstances as validation, honey, you're going to have your heart broken. Don't do it. Which brings me into the last thing I really want to touch on before I end this video, and that is the topic of third parties. I have had so many people bring up third parties and come to me freaking out because their specific person is now seeing a third party, or there's now this other person in the equation, and it's a huge emotional reaction shitstorm. Well, guess what? Now that you're reacting to that, now that you are focusing on that third party, you're giving it more and more of your attention, which means it's going to be playing out more and more in your everyday world. The key to getting rid of a third party is to just take your focus away from that third party. Focus on the end, focus on being with that specific person, and know that whatever happens, as long as you are unwavering in that faith of your God-given power to manifest, you'll know that you're gonna get what you have imagined and what it is that you desire. So if there's a third party, who cares? Who cares? Because they're gonna have to go away inevitably. And don't ever wish ill on another person. Don't wish ill on the third party. Just go to the end with your specific person. Just imagine your specific person and being with them. And then anything else in your outside world, remember, your current outside circumstances are just your previous thoughts and manifestations. It's a shadow of your beliefs and assumptions and thoughts, inner dialogue, reactions, all of that. So with that said, none of the shit on the outside matters. If you see it, just be like, well, I don't really want that there, so... And that's it. And that's it. Really, I mean, whatever you focus on, whatever you give your attention to, that's what's going to keep popping up. Whatever you give your deliberate, conscious attention to is what's going to keep showing up for you. So if you want to keep that third party around, then keep thinking about it and keep acknowledging them. If you don't want them around, then cut that shit out. And again, I know it's one of those things that's easier said than done because we're dealing with something that we do have a strong emotional attachment to and with. But if everyone is you pushed out, then that person has to conform to how you want them to act and how you believe them to act and how you believe them to be. So it's never an issue. It's never something to worry about. And if something accidentally comes up and you don't want that thing and you don't like that thing, well, you just go and revise it, or you imagine having something else happen instead that you would have rather had happen or rather have received. Essentially, stop giving your power to these third parties. Stop focusing on it, because what you focus on, you're going to get more of. What you take your focus away from is going to go away. So I'm going to wrap this video up really soon because this is by far the longest one that I've made yet. And really it's because this is one of the things that gets brought up more than any other thing, more than any other topic, is a specific person. And I get it. When you really love somebody, when you really care about somebody, and then they go away, that shit hurts. It's hard not to react to that. For me, it took a lot of inner work. It took a lot of revising. It took a lot of self-observation to really get myself out of my old state. It didn't happen overnight. It really didn't. And I'm not saying that you have to have the same experience that I did. Absolutely not. But in the time between when you've imagined being with that specific person and when they actually do show up, use that time to work on yourself. Use that time to uproot any old, lingering negative beliefs and assumptions that is only going to trip you up down the road if you don't get rid of them anyways. Use that time to really build up your life the way that you want it to. Because that's the beauty here. That's the amazing thing here. We live in a world, a universe of abundance, and we have this incredible power to do whatever we want and experience whatever we want and create whatever we want. It's just amazing, and it's what gives me so much life every day, and why I was moved to make this channel and talk about this stuff and really get the word out there to everybody, as many people that will listen, about all this. It doesn't all, at the end of the day, just boil down to one person being the center of your universe. You're God. You are the God of your reality. In the meantime, while you're waiting for this person to show up, there's so much other rad shit to do. So play, have fun. The world is your canvas. The world is your fucking playground. Like, seriously, have fun with it. And build up that faith. Build up knowing for sure, knowing without any trace of doubt that what you want is coming, and you're just looking forward to that day. And in the meantime, you're going to keep kicking ass and living the most amazing life you can. Because when that person does come back, and they will if you follow these steps, then you're going to be so much more amazing. You're going to have gotten rid of all of those old doubts and all of those old assumptions and old beliefs and all that old shit that kept you held down, that kept you in a state of despair, that kept you in the dumps. All of that's going to be gone. So imagine your life together when they do come back and you've done all the work, and fuck yeah, that's incredible. That is such a warming thought. So look at it like that. Instant gratification is such a thing in our culture nowadays. Like, we need everything right now. And I get it. We don't want to be away from our person. It sucks. It hurts. But hell, man, there's so much going on in your universe. There's so much cool shit to do in the meantime. Just know that if you have impressed onto your subconscious that which you want, it's gonna come to pass. You're gonna get it. So have fun in the meantime. Anyways, guys, I hope this helped. I hope you were able to glean a lot from it. I try to make everything as informative as I can, so if you found this video helpful, do me a huge favor and give it a thumbs up. Also, hit subscribe, hit that bell icon so that way you're notified every time I put out new content, which will be Wednesday through Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're interested in checking out my resources, my other resources, I will link my coaching website, my blog, and my social links down in the description box below. And if you have any questions about this video, on this topic, or anything in general, if there's something else you want me to discuss more in future videos, let me know in that comment box below. Give me a shout. And until next time, y'all, take care. You're awesome. Don't forget that you are God and you can do whatever the fuck you want. Happy manifesting.